to be here.
Likewise.
Folks, welcome to another edition of IFCO Television, broadcasting live from Boulder, Colorado, United States of America. A Mile High seminar put on by Dr. Danny and Rochelle Knowles. We have a very special guest with us right now. Good friend. I have a private line to his house. I don't get an answering machine ever. It picks up. It's a red phone. His name is Dr. Scott Garber, worldwide known for the Berkshire Philosophy event, one of the premier events in chiropractic today. The man has changed the face of the profession, changed the face of chiropractic seminars as we know them. I learn, I profit from listening to him, from talking to him. Many have called him the Oracle from the Berkshires, also the spiritual leader of the country of Thailand. Dr. Frankie Han and Dr. Liam Shu, we'd love to welcome you to the program.
Hey,
Dr. Scott Garber.
I'm so blessed to be here. This is incredible. Thanks for having me.
Our pleasure.
I really got to tell you, I wasn't here last year, but the year before, I was here, and it's just so good to be back.
Yeah.
It's just so good to be in this energy today.
Well, expand on that a little bit. Why do you think it's important for people to be here?
Frank, for me anyway, I like being around people, like-minded people. I like being around the energy. Like, I was just in the hall talking to Irene, talking to Joel Kinch and Jake Marek, and I don't get to see all these people all the time, and so when I do, it's almost like family. It's like a brotherhood. We get to fill each other in. You get to get caught up. See what they're doing. I mean, Jay's doing incredible. He looks great. Looks really great. He's doing incredible work with the film, and he was telling me about the film and how it all went. And he would just say they did a screening, and there was not one dry eye.
Wow.
And the whole thing. He said he was just blown away.
That's one of the highlights of the weekend. I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, that's going to be tomorrow night. The name of the film is called Life Adjusted with Jay Marek. And we've had the opportunity, of course, Jay Marek is one of the premier attendees at the Berkshire Philosophy event. I've had the opportunity to go and watch him do his artistic work. Checking, I'm talking, the racehorses that he checks are worth, way more than my home.
I know, right?
And they trust him, right? And so you'd say, I think one of the most powerful things is the angle of chiropractic that they're hitting, right? Is there's that idea of chiropractic works because people believe in it, right? Well, what's the mindset of a horse, right? They're generally skittish,
Horses and babies,
and they love it. The horses that are being taken care of by Dr. Jay Marek. So very exciting to see that program here.
Yeah, I actually when I moved to my area, they had one of those no-kill animal shelters.
Okay.
And basically, they take the animals in, they'll find a home for it, and almost go into hock, literally, just to support the animals so that they don't get killed, right?
Wow.
And I used to go and volunteer my time over there and adjust the cats and the dogs. And what a powerful thing to do, to see, because nothing really gets in the way, of the adjustment and the nervous system expressing itself. Really very powerful stuff. And so I admire Jay. I mean, I just really admire all the work that he's doing.
Well, I got to tell you, we admire all the work that you're doing. And this is one of the unique things. I mean, we're seeing chiropractic eminences from around the world coming to this Mile High event. Again, to be around, Frank and I have talked about, sure, we love watching the people up on stage and the speakers and learning the information, but also the masterminding and the fellowship that goes on after the event or on the breaks, I think is exciting and worthwhile. Your event, the Berkshire's philosophical event up in Massachusetts, you really launched this thing, and I got to tell you, when you first launched it, there was everybody, just like at Sherman College, said, you can't do this, you can't do that, and you really changed the face of the way people do seminars. Can you talk a little bit about what that process was like?
Yeah. So, in all honesty, it didn't really start out that way where, I had this grand idea that I was going to take proceeds and just donate them to organizations. I really got to be honest and say that wasn't it. I moved to the Berkshires when I came back from Australia. I was lonely. Just like we were talking about before, I come here and I love the brotherhood. I love the fellowship. I spend probably just as much time outside of the rooms than I do in the rooms.
Right.
Because you could watch some of these speakers on DVD, but you're not going to get what you're going to get unless you're here.
Right.
And so it's the experience of it, and I wanted that. I wanted, the people in my area that met me, the chiropractors walking to the area. I've always been one, to show up and play well and, be a part of the group in the area. And I went to all the different chiropractors in my area, and I was not greeted very well by maybe 2 or 3 people, embraced me. But for the most part, out of the 20 chiropractors, 3 embraced me. And I thought, I really would love to get something going here. And I invited you up. You would come up, and Sharon Gorman and Jay Hant, and you had all these great speakers that came up. And I started it in this hotel. It was like a Crown Plaza.
Right.
And it just didn't feel right to me. They took lunch, they dumped it on the floor, the room was hot and the room was cold, and, they delivered the food, and, people had like dirty shirts on, and I said, this is not the experience I really wanted to create. I don't create it in my office. Why am I going to create it, amongst the people that I really care and love? So we started looking for another place, and Cranwell came about, and that was it was a home run. In Cranwell, you can't get there during the summer months. It's financially and it's prohibitive.
And it's very expensive.
Very expensive.
Cranwell, what is Cranwell?
Cranwell actually
There's some history to it, isn't it?
Yeah. It was actually owned by Stokes, and he married a Vanderbilt, and they created what they call the summer cottage. So the Berkshires is the home to the rich and famous. Some people wouldn't go there on like an off season, like maybe March or April, if you know what I mean. But for the most part, the wealthies would take their family to these areas, and they created these used mansions. Cropala being one of them was Shadowbrook.
Okay.
And, they were Sloan and Stokes and all these very ultra wealthy, just like they do throughout the country. You've traveled a lot and you've been to Vanderbilt mansions.
Yes.
The Berkshires was that summer home for them. And so they brought up the arts, they brought up Tanglewood, they brought up, Shakespeare and Company and Jacob's Pillow. And so as the years went on, the elite New Yorkers and the people from Boston all made their way up to the Berkshires, and they created these really beautiful homes. So the Berkshires is a transient community of people that work supporting the infrastructure of tourism, but for the most part it caters to tourism.
There's a very interesting room in that Cranwell I think it's a dining room that the ceiling is designed. The only other one is at the Oval Office at the White House. That was the level of wealth that was there. I remember seeing on the side walls at one time Cranwell was, I think, an upscale boarding school. And,
to Kennedy.
Teddy Kennedy was
Kennedy,
there. And so you're in an environment, and again, when we're in the mansion, right, where the seminar takes place, you look at the walls and you say, there's not artisans, Scott, that know how to even do the woodwork on these walls anymore. They're not alive anymore. So there's a lot of history, there's a lot of art, and there's a lot of culture there of excellence, and of it's kind of an elite group, really, is what you have going on.
And honestly, once I found it, again, it wasn't like I had this vision one morning, like I'm going to go out and find an opulent place. But when I saw it and saw the opulence, really what hit home for me is this is chiropractors.
Yeah.
Because typically they have low self-esteem, they're always beaten down, they're this, they're that. And what I really wanted to create is a gathering place for people that really kind of, could network, feel at home, have a brotherhood, bring in great speakers, and create a weekend that was really uniting. And I feel like that's what we've created.
There's kind of like 3 components. One is like the family component, because I bring my family, as you know, every year, and I know a lot of people do as well, because it's a great vacation area, and I spoil my wife and kids there, on the weekend. There's also what you do that's very unique is you insist that the speakers that present up there give real-world communication or strategies in business or marketing, etc., that is going to improve the quality of their practice and their ability, their abundance, their bottom line, right, their level of finances, as well as their impact in the community. And the third thing that you do is you create an experience for people of high class. It's a high class event, from the food, from the environment, from the places where we stay, the information presented. You insist on a level of quality all throughout. I mean, gosh, the restaurant where we were at this past year,
wasn't it amazing?
Holy smokes! I mean, my wife's a foodie, and so
Right,
am I.
right.
And we could have been there till the next day eating. Just the variety and the quality of what you had.
Jay Spice was amazing. It was one of those things that, the guy had just said to me, trust me.
Yeah.
And, I have all these people coming up.
Right.
And I've always each year tried to outdo myself because, there comes to a point where people, on social media, you read, oh my God, I had the greatest time. It's such a quality place. What an event. Great speakers. And so, each year as I try to outdo myself, here it is. The guy says to me, you'll have to trust me. And it's like, really?
Yeah.
And when I got there, I was like, is that one table, like the food table?
Yeah.
To find out that it was like the appetizers, right?
That's right.
You worked your way around, to get to the real food.
It's like 5,000 square feet of food.
Yeah, I'm thinking, oh my God, what a disappointment. Then I realized, like, holy moly, like this place is like, he had everything.
Liam, there's one more thing that Scott does that's vitally important to him. With your event, you give back to the profession a great deal too.
Yes. There are so many people, that, let's say they don't play with others. They're self-focused, narcissistic. They might be just into making money for themselves.
Right.
And many people do that in seminars or products, manuals, things like that. You have taken an event and you've donated back all the proceeds. I mean, it's and again, as Danny and Rochelle were talking about earlier, it's like planning a wedding every single year. Why do you put yourself through such torture? Right? But yet, I think you've probably given back more to the profession than probably anybody else, maybe other than maybe Irene Gold, because she's been doing it for 47, 50 years. Tell me a little bit about that.
Liam, let me just start out by saying the truth is I don't have to give anything.
Right.
I mean, I run a seminar, people come, they show up, they fill it, and I really don't. I mean, there's seminars that don't, right? And at one point I said, you know what, I really want to be able to support the profession. I want to take something back. And in the earlier years, I have to be honest, I wasn't making a whole lot of money.
Yeah.
Between the cost of Cranwell, I pay for students' rooms, I have a lot of students that come. Last year we had about a dozen students that came to the event. They graduated. I gifted it to them. So, people look around and say, oh my God, it's a packed place, but really people don't really understand the finance part of it. The cost of renting buses, the cost of taking everybody out on the town.
Yes.
And so when you look at it in the first couple of years, I invested into sound equipment. I own the sound equipment. I own the projector. I bought everything, putting back so I could continue to actually evolve the seminar. As we went on, I was able to give more. I didn't have to buy new projectors. I didn't have to buy new stereo systems. I was able to cut a better deal with Cranwell because as it started to go up, they started saying, you know what? You're bringing in all these people. Great. And I'll be very, very, very blunt and honest. I pay for my own room at Cranwell. They don't even give me a free room. I get nothing for bringing that in. They just have went ahead and said, you know what? You're doing such a great job we're feeding people here. We're renting out all the rooms. We rent out every room there.
That's amazing.
In a time when this season hasn't really started. Sure. And so they became more favorable with the pricing for renting the rooms, renting the vendor rooms and things like that. So I've been able to take more back in. But you know what? It gives me a sense of pleasure to actually go ahead and do that, right? Again, don't have to do it. And, you'll always have people that are bitch and complain and, they'll make up, in their minds what I do and what I don't do. But the truth is that I actually enjoy giving back to the profession.
Yeah. And you've given back now to, what's the list? ICPA?
We went Sherman, ICPA, Foundation for Vertebral Subluxation. IFCO, This year, actually, we're doing it for the Australian Spinal Research Foundation.
Great.
Yeah, and so that'll be another great one. And I enjoy doing it. It's a work of love. Like people get married and you realize how much work that is. But why do they do it? They love each other, right? And they're going to do it, and they really want to have, the people around them that they love and celebrating them. And so that's what it feels like for me when I do it.
Now, Dr. Scott, how can people get in touch with you if they want information on when the next Berkshire Philosophical event is, and what's the webpage? How can we get in contact?
Yeah, the webpage is the easiest place to go, www.ticevent.com, simple to remember. And friend me on Facebook. Lately, I have all these open friend requests. I have plenty of room for new friends.
That's great.
Yeah, fantastic. Shedding the old and bringing in the new,
Wonderful.
And so there's plenty of opportunities for people to friend me now.
That's great.
And we'll put them into the group.
Is there a date set for the next Berkshires?
Yep.
Let's announce that.
March 30th to April 2nd, and we got a smoking event this year.
Right.
If I might plug it.
Yeah, please.
We have Dean DePice coming.
Okay.
Wow.
And it's been a while since we've connected with regards and getting him in.
His business acumen is outstanding. I've been talking to some of his clients out here in Colorado that fly into there, and they are just raving.
Yeah.
And one more thing, Dean volunteers his program for the Sherman students.
For the students at
Yeah.
Sherman.
And Peter really helped me to see that, because I didn't know Dean.
Okay.
I know who I know, and then you start hearing great things about people, and Dean actually went ahead, which was amazing. He came to last year's event because he wanted to show up. He didn't want to be one of those speakers that just drop in, try to sell something, and out the door.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It was incredible.
Yeah. So he's
he's
really full of integrity, like real integrity type person. That when they go to an event, they show up for the whole thing and they support everybody else.
Absolutely,
not just their thing.
Yeah,
right?
That's
awesome.
So he and I spoke, after the event last year, and I said, what a great guy to headline this. Why? Like you said, he's working at Sherman, getting the students going.
Right.
They should have access to him. They should have access to his materials. The other students from the other schools should know that this is a great source to go to. Then we have Sean Dill.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I don't know Sean very long. Last couple of years, he's really kind of spoke at the seminar. I love his energy. I love Lacey's energy. I started doing tats. One of the big breakthroughs for me was, I never did upper cervical.
Yeah.
I have always been like either Gonstead, Diversified, Thompson type of an adjuster. And I went and was listening to him at a seminar. I thought, and Andy was big on that. Are you mediocre or are you master?
Right.
And I started to look at it and say, I really should at least have information about this technique. I should really be able to have a background in it, understand what they do, why they do it, how it ties into our philosophy. And I started going to TATS, and I was very, very impressed with their level of knowledge, the neurology, and how they put it together. And part of what he does is a marketing program, which I thought was brilliant.
Yeah.
And so Sean's going to be another anchor speaker this year.
Well, his Black Diamond Club, people are raving about it. It's one of the fastest growing programs, because I think Sean comes from a perspective of there's a lot of people out there that are good people that don't know anything about marketing. He has a vast knowledge on marketing, and he says, they're looking for a place where they can learn. In a collaborative sense, where people are actually working well with others.
With no drama, right?
With no drama. And no abuse that sometimes we see in other programs. And so I think that's one of the reasons why it's growing so fast. And of course, to get into it, I think is very reasonably priced as well. His price point. So that's going to be exciting. Then he's going to be on the schedule. Then who else?
I actually flew out this weekend. I wasn't coming here.
Really?
Just 2-3 weeks ago, I decided, what? I'm going to Mile High. I wanted to see him, and so he's speaking here this weekend, which would be great. We have so I got to tell you, the day one, which we're going to broadcast again around the world, because wasn't that great last year?
That was amazing.
Over
that was
10,000
awesome.
people. To
How many?
Over 10,000.
Over 16.
Yeah.
Wasn't
Oh,
it
16,000.
It was over
16,000.
Holy smokes! Wow.
And
Golly.
what we're going to do this year, Irene Gold said to me, the matriarch said to me, you know what? I loved that program. You have to do more of it. So what do? You do more of it, right?
Sure, of course.
So we're going to be doing it 3 days. I put Steve Tullius, who's brilliant, onto really organizing guys like Marty Rosen, and we're going to have Bill Deckens and Pete, a really great, solid group to be able to really dig into our philosophy in the morning. Then the first day, listen to this powerhouse. We're going to have Peter Kevorkian, who's always been the MC. He's going to open it up strictly philosophy.
Wow.
We're going to have Bill Deckens on top of that.
Nice.
We're going to have Sean Dill on top of that. The whole day is going to be strict chiropractic philosophy.
That's
Oh my
great.
goodness.
I mean, for someone like Irene, that's like almost like a gift from Tiffany's. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Absolutely.
brilliant.
You know, one of my favorite things that you did at the event last year. I'm sorry, Scott, but it was the philosophy panel.
Right.
Yeah. So that,
And we're going to be doing that again
we
this
do
year.
that? Yeah, I want to make sure we're doing that too. That was awesome.
Yeah, I think, you know, and here's, you know, what's behind that. I really think that, you know, last year we got into Barcelona and we got into the schools. If we can start really connecting with the schools that are not getting this and at least plant a seed that it's there, they'll know where to come to look for it. They'll know how to get it. You know, we're gonna be able to give them access, and they don't have to buy an airline ticket.
That's right.
You know, contrary to belief, it's not about making money from me.
Right,
It's about making enough, creating an experience, and giving some of it back. But what I'm going to do at no cost to them, right, is to open it up so the students, you know, in Australia can watch it, the students in Barcelona can watch it.
Perfect.
Wherever we have schools, we're going to make this
Mexico.
available to them. And how much do you get better? How much, you know, Brazil.
Right.
How much better could you do than bringing Peter Kevorkian, Bill Deckens,
Right.
Sean Dill? I
Right.
mean, these are
Right.
master philosophers
Yep.
into their living room for nothing. Not
Yeah,
asking them for a dime.
Yeah.
Right? Not asking them to buy anything. There's no DVDs to buy. We're tithing
It's
it.
not secret. It's
not
out.
secret.
It's public. It's public
Yeah.
information
Yeah.
available to anybody.
Yeah.
That's
And so-
fantastic. Fantastic.
Yeah, that's going to be exciting, and I'm really excited about it. Like, we started that project about a year ago, and, you know, we threw a lot of money and time, and Frank did amazing.
Totally.
I got to tell you, man, this is the unsung hero of
for
chiropractic over here, because he's silently behind the camera. Nobody knows what he does, but, you know, we organized this whole thing, and just was it like a month before?
Yeah, we made sure it
And-
stayed on track.
Yeah.
There was quite a few of us, but we stayed on track.
Just
Yeah.
the whole thing and how it pulled together, I honestly, I had doubts.
Yeah.
And then, you know, as we, you know, because our original goal was, remember, 10,000.
That's right.
And, you know, as we hit 10,000, the clock was going to 11,000,
Yeah,
12,000. It's like, holy crap. Like, how do you top this next year?
That's right.
Right?
So get ready, guys.
So all great
The
stuff.
challenge has been set.
Yeah.
Scott, to wrap up the interview, it's been fantastic. I always enjoy listening to you, and we learn a lot. This part of this IFCO television thing is to make people conscious of the IFCO organization. What's the reason that you're involved and that you would encourage other people to get involved in IFCO?
You know, I just got more involved with it. You know, Jack had asked me, he said, Scott, you know what, we need somebody to jump into a chair position and start working with the students. I love the students. You know, I was active at Parker when I was there with the students. You know, really, I mean, you've heard it say, you know, cliche or not, I mean, they're our future.
Yeah.
And if we don't guide them and we don't support them and we don't direct them, we don't have a future, right? And you know, one of the things that drives me is that I see opportunists in the profession that'll sell them, you know, materials and they don't get support and they get out of school. And Liam, it breaks my heart when I hear people that are struggling in chiropractic, right? Because it really doesn't have to be that way. And so what really drives me about IFCO is that it gives me an opportunity to really move the profession forward, to really go ahead and to work with a team of really brilliant people who all have the same mindset and the same idea of what we're trying to create in chiropractic, right? There's a lot of negative forces out there that'll pull things down, and we're a positive force that's moving in a positive direction, you know? And I'm always blown away at how much more year after year that we make, roads, inclines into the roads.
Bigger impact.
Yeah, and what a big impact. Like, this is amazing to be here, with Danny, and I was at the first one that he did, and now we're in a bigger place, and look at all these vendors, right? And look at all these people that are here, and he's doing the same thing, you know? He's doing the same thing, working, busting his ass. He's involved with IFCO. He's involved, his wife is with the boys, with Sherman College. And look at all he's doing, and on a spare time, he's holding a wedding for like 500 or 600 people.
Right. And then he stated that he's learned a lot of the things that he's implemented here from you. I mean, from the Vanguard approach that you have towards chiropractic seminars.
And, you know, and Liam, look, I've had great mentors, you know, and I'll be honest, I'm not an implementer, but that was one of the things that, hey, it was do or die, you know, implemented or it wasn't going to take off. And I worked really hard in the beginning. I worked really hard. I mean, it's a lot easier as the years go on because things all come together. You know, I have a structure for it. I got support last year. This year I'll get some, you know, more support in doing it. But for them to do what they're doing over here, this is 2 or 3 times the size of what I do. This is just, it's humbling, you know, to be able to do this. And but then again, you know, this is an incredible, Colorado's incredible.
Gorgeous,
you know. I flew in today and I thought to myself, you know, I have these fleeting moments of like, wow, I could live here, I could be here.
Yeah.
And then I started getting oxygen and I thought it wasn't going to happen.
Well, Dr. Scott Garber, absolute pleasure, as always, to have you
this is great.
On the program. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate all you do for chiropractic.
Thank you.
Because I think there are few people on the planet that can walk the walk and talk the talk, that have that level of integrity, that what you say and what you do are always in congruence. There's a level of congruency there.
Well,
so
thank you.
Thank you for that. We
Look
appreciate
forward
it.
to being at Berkshire's.
Yes. Yeah, it's going to be great.
Yeah, absolutely.
So thank you for being with us, and
Hey,
we'll catch
thank
you
you.
throughout the weekend.
Perfect. Thanks.
Yeah.